Now on Victory Online, we join Bob Bruce and Loree Westron in the studio, and they're interviewing Alain Elliott about his new book, Awfully Good Movies, Volume 1, Adventures in B-Movies.
And it's that time of the week again. Yes, it's time for Portsmouth Authors Collective with myself, Bob Bruce, Loree Westron, and our guest author this week, Alain Elliott. And Alain Elliott has written 3 horror novels and story collections. He also writes for Nerdy and several other sites covering horror, retro gaming, and everything in between, and is also the creator of horror blog White Blood. His biggest influences in writing are Robert Rankin, Bill Bryson, and Roald Dahl. He can often be spotted in the local charity shops and bookshops looking for another book to add to the never-ending pile of reading material. Book of the week is Awfully Good Movies, Volume 1, Adventures in B-Movies. I'll just give you a little bit of a backdrop for that. Have you ever wondered how many cameos there were in the first 2 Sharknado films? Or who the sharks haunted in Ghost Shark? Maybe you'd like to discuss what the best scene is in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Would you like to know just how big the spider is in Big Ass Spider? Did you recently ask a friend which Japanese dish starts killing people in a film from 2012? And would you like to know if zombies can be vegan and what exactly is a stonado? Well, these questions and more will be answered in this rundown of 50 of the craziest, strangest and awfully good collections of B-movies. I've got Alain Elliott, the writer of this book, with me. Alain, welcome to Victory. Why write about these movies?
The first obvious answer is I really like these movies. I enjoy watching them.
It's a good enough answer, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I already wrote about them a bit for my blog in a similar format to which is in the book. I saw a post on social media by a guy called Dave Wayne who runs a DVD rental store in Liverpool, and he had a whole collection of these type of movies that apparently do really well in one of the few rental stores left, I think, in England. And I thought, oh, well, maybe there is a thing here where people want to read about them if they want to see them. So I thought it would be a bit quicker to write this book than another novel, but that was stupidly wrong by me. It took a lot of rewatching and re-editing, and writing about the movies takes a lot longer than I thought it would. But yeah, I enjoyed writing it, enjoyed watching the movies again. So
cool. Who would you say the book is for? Is it for quizzes or movie buffs?
Yeah, I think people like that would definitely enjoy it. But there's, if you've ever seen any of these movies, you'll definitely want to read about it. It will there'll be ones you hadn't seen before and will want to watch. And if you ever even just heard of any of these movies and thought, oh, maybe I need to find a bit more, that's a perfect book for that as well.
It's okay. Have you got a favourite movie that the features in the book?
I do like most of them. I mean, there's a couple that I have soft spots for. Ghost Shark, I think, is a great film. It's there's a ridiculous first scene of how it turns into a ghost, but then once it's a ghost, it can appear in any body of water. So toilets, water fountains, puddles, all these happen in the film. I'm not just saying random bits of water. So it does appear from these in the film. So I think that's a great concept, which really works. And there's a Japanese one called Dead Sushi, which is as ridiculous as it sounds, like killer sushi. Going after people that I don't think you get any more ridiculous than that. So
is this like
that is fun.
Comedy horror?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of comedy in most of these.
Would you like to write a book in a similar style to these movies?
I would, yeah. I think there's definitely a skill to it. I'd like to get a small section of my next book, maybe not the whole book, but a small part to do with this. I mean, there's already in the Portsmouth Authors Collective, I know Rob Iletsky on the did High Stakes, which is very much similar to this kind of film in book format. So yeah, and I really enjoyed that book. I've read it; it's great. So yeah,
sure. I'm not sure what it is about horror writers who do not portray the persona of a horror writer, and Rob and you are much the same in that light.
I'm glad. I think, yeah.
So your other books are fiction stories in the horror genre. Why do you like that genre so much?
I think you can write anything in horror. In a way that, I mean, if you want to do a romance part in horror, you can do that. If you want to do comedy, you can do that. If you want to make it really scary, you can do that. Or you can get really silly with things like this. I think it's so open that you can put any other genre and place it in horror and it still works.
Let me have a look at the book.
Absolutely.
So, Awfully Good Movies, Volume 1, Adventures in B-Movies. Is this your artwork? It looks like digital.
It is digital. I didn't do the design. It's off a website, not AI. It is just a shark design, which I thought was simple but looked good. And I wanted it to have that kind of B-movie feel a poster feel almost to the cover.
Who are the biggest influences and favourite current authors?
I think you mentioned a few I went from the start, which are not, surprisingly, maybe not horror. I read a lot of Roald Dahl as a kid and loved his books. That's what got me into reading. I've always loved reading. More as a teenager, I was like Bill Bryson. I absolutely love all his books, his travel books. I think they maybe don't influence me loads at the moment, but I think in the future, the stuff I write will be influenced by his humour and kind of historical stuff he does. I do really like that. Currently reading, I think there's some great independent horror authors out there, smaller self-published authors who are just doing really, really cool stuff and getting really well known. And from the Authors Collective, I love all of CJ Powell's books. I think they're fantastic.
Is it selling well?
Yeah, it's doing okay. I think there's a niche there where people want to read about this, and it's gone up and down a bit. But yeah, it's doing well.
Where is it available locally?
Only on online stores wherever you buy books, it should be there. Yeah.
Okay, what have you got lined up next?
Hopefully, first quarter or maybe first half of next year will be a sequel to my kind of strange zombie post-apocalyptic book called White of the Living Dead, which is obviously based on the Isle of Wight. I try to make it a bit different from the usual zombie book, and it's written. The first one ends. I always set up for at least a trilogy, I think, of this one. So I've got stuff planned and written part of it already. Or I'd love. Unfortunately, it won't be out this year, but there will be a Christmas edition of the Awfully Good book out next year. Definitely, I've got things written up for that already, just not quite finished in time for this Christmas.
Okay, well, do let us know about that when that happens. I want to ask you one more question. How long have you been involved with PAC?
Almost since the beginning. I think a couple months maybe after. I think I spoke to Rob, at Ski about it. He mentioned it, and I think I joined up for one of the first book sales in a bookshop we did in Fratton. Yeah.
And do you find it really helpful as a local author?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just it's great to get your book out there in local places. It's great to meet other authors and talk to them and read their books and hear about their ideas. Yeah, it's really, really helpful.
Alain Elliott, author of Awfully Good Movies, Volume 1, Adventures in B-Movies. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you.
Keep us up to date with what you're doing in the future.
Will do. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming in.
Victory! If you've enjoyed watching this podcast, then make sure you click that like button and remember to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any more of our podcasts. And don't forget, you can listen in where we're busy making radio like it used to be on your DAB radio or online at victoryonline.co.uk. And you can also listen to us on your smart speaker. Just ask it to tune in to Victory Online. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again soon.